Okay, hi guys. Okay, so today we are going to do our Sam, stop. He's got a toy and he wants them to try and take it from him, and nobody's paying attention to him. Okay, so today we're going to do our yellow layer. I also wanted to, these are the stickers that I use for the top of these, and I got them from Town Sticks, and there's actually like 120 of these things in here. So I wanted to show their information in case anybody else, let's see if I can get this to focus. There you go. In case anybody else wants that information or needs those stickers. There are, I must be there's 120 of them, and there's 6 on each, so there's like 20 sheets of stickers here. So, and I just wait until, like, this one's gonna need a new one because it's all messed up. And if I try and wash it off, it's not coming off. So once it gets to that point where it's not really coming off, then I just put on a new sticker. See, like this one, it didn't totally come off. And sometimes if they're like that, I'll reuse them. But anyway, I just wanted you guys to have that information. So onto our yellow layer. I've already got my soft touch varnish on in here. Make sure you stir it up really good before you get to mount, because you know those things settle. Alright, then I'm using the Liquitex Basics Primary Yellow, and this is, get this dried gunk off of here. I usually, and I learned this from somebody else, I don't know who, oh, this is one of the ones you can't, okay. So it's better to do it this way where you can just take it off so you get less dried gunk around the edge. Some of them, I think it's this one. No, this one you can. Some of them, it has ones that pop off, and I can't, they're hard to get off, and so I just open them up the other way. But let me get my brush here. Okay. And you won't need as much as I do, but I have a few dolls to do, so I'm doing like 4 dolls at the same time right now. So then I'm going to just mix that in really good. Get all the little clumps broken up. And once I get the clumps broken up, then I'll start adding in water. Sometimes I'll put, if it's too dry, I'll put a little bit of water in there to help. But I just rinsed out this cup, so it still had a little bit of water at the bottom. And remember, your water, you're going to use distilled water. You always want to make sure it's distilled, because it's going to last longer and it's going to get less bacteria in it and stuff if you use the distilled water. I know, I told you guys this before, but just in case somebody's like me, I have ADHD, so I tend to kind of zone out sometimes. So, or if this is your first video watching, then you know. If this is your first video, go back to the primary video. Because this is the 4th layer we're doing now. Okay. And You just want to add water a little bit at a time. And that's why you want to make sure all your clumps are done before you start adding water. Whoops, I just found a little one. Because otherwise, like now, it's hard to find that one clump in here because it's... So I'll just stir it a little bit, and that should break it up wherever it is. And keep adding water until it gets to that point where it's coming back clear. Oops, I'm trying to get it through for your vantage point here. See? Now that comes back clear real quick. And then I always kind of add a little tiny bit just for good measure, just to make sure that we got it good. Okay. So... and we're going to spritz our sponge, and let me get Serena. There's our Serena now. She's kind of getting some life to her. Oops, my other light turned off. There we go. Okay. So, and remember, we start with the back of the head. I kind of put it on, I try and remember to put it on the lid because there's isn't going to be as much dust and stuff on the lid. I need my mopper brush here. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to check her for lint. So I'm not thinking I get to go get a new phone today. And so I'm rushing a little bit so I can go get that done. My phone, I cracked the screen a couple weeks ago, and it finally, the screen just kind of went kaput yesterday. So now I'm trying to use my mom's old phone, which is the same phone as my phone, but it's a smaller version of it. So I kind of don't like texting on it because it's just irritating me. Sorry, there it is. Okay. All right. Anyway, so we have Verizon, and we got a text from Verizon offering us a S23 for free for being good customers, because we've been with them for, I think, like 30 years or something. So maybe 25, I don't know. It's been a while. Alright. She's mostly okay here. A few spots. Mostly like little specks of something. And she's been under that food tent, so that's why she doesn't have that much. But I kind of have to have the food tent sitting up a little bit so that it doesn't sit on like the arms and legs that are, you know, that are propped up there. Because if they're touching it, they're going to get that pattern on them. So a little bit of dust gets through there. Plus what's just floating around here right now. I had my water, or not water, excuse me. My water goodness gracious, I can't talk this morning. My air purifier on. But I like to have it on for an hour before I work. And I didn't do that today. Now from this layer on, you're going to want to be really, really careful when you're using a toothpick to take something off. And just do it very, very lightly in a very small spot, because now when you take off some paint, it's going to start being noticeable. So I just kind of do little teeny tiny strokes. And make sure it's wet. So it just kind of, it doesn't, when it's wet, it helps to take it off, but it also helps to make sure that the, it's kind of taken off a little bit at a time. I think that might be in the vinyl or something. I don't know, that doesn't want to come off, so I'm not going to worry about it. Because, you know, homemade projects, or homemade things, or whatever, are going to have little little spots where they're not perfect. So, and that's just part of making things homemade. So, I think stuff's floating around the air here. It wasn't too bad when I started. Now it's starting to get... Okay. Sorry, guys. I should have had that done before I started, but... Like I said, I'm trying to hurry, so I'm not thinking right. Okay. So I already got the yellow there. Get some yellow on the sponge. The sponge was blue before I started this, but it is clean. It's just from doing the blue at the last step. But I rinsed it all out, so it's not going to go on green like the sponge looks like. Because the blue was washed out, and it was also dried, so... We're just dabbing. Remember, we're dabbing straight up and down. We don't want to do this motion. We want to do straight up and down. And the reason that we break the sponge off is for texture. That way it's not all just like one solid color. It's getting it, you'll notice as you pounce that there's some areas that aren't, like little tiny areas that aren't getting the yellow. And that's what makes it look more like skin. What was the imperfection of that? of the layers. And so this is going to be our last layer for all skin tones. So our next layer, excuse me, will just be for African American or Caucasian. So I'm going to do both, but I'm going to do 2 different kits. So I'm going to do debating on if I'm either going to do Christopher by Bountiful Baby, as I'm working on him, or my videos will have Quimby. I don't remember her. Whoops, I bumped you. Sorry, guys. Or we'll do Quimby. I think we're going to actually do Quimby. And Quimby, I'm doing a different varnish, but it's still the same process. Because I'm having a hard time finding this. So, where is my varnish? I'm going to start oh, I don't have my other glasses on, so it's hard to see. I'm going to start using the other varnish, which I'll show you in the next video. On her, so I can see if it holds up as well as the deco art. So I have kind of a backup varnish if I can't find this varnish. Because it seems like well, last time I looked, which was like a month ago, I couldn't find it at, I tried Hobby Lobby and Michael's. And I think, yeah, I tried Joann Fabrics too. All of which in Oregon City were out. So I gotta go try them again and see if maybe they got some more product in. We will see. If not, I still have enough here to do several babies. I still got about 1/3 of a jar. And so the 2/3 of a jar actually lasted me a year. About. So. Now remember, I'm using the brush there, so I make sure I get in all the little creaks and crevices. And see, now I used a lot, so now I'm going to need to take some off my sponge so I can, it has enough space in it so it can take off some more of the color so it doesn't pool. And see, now you'll notice after this yellow layer, she's starting to get that peachy color to her. So the next layer for the African American is going to be another blue layer, because we kind of go through the blue, red, and yellow until I get to a certain, until I get it to a darker shade, and then I'll add some of the browns to kind of bring it to the right color. And see, with the Caucasian will go into, let's see, try to think of what layer I have on the Caucasian next. Oh, so it's well, we didn't do the deep blue yet. Okay. So, excuse me. Well, it doesn't really matter. But, so the next layer we'll do for Caucasian is the deep blue, which is all the shadowing. So like the shadowing on the neck and on the eyes and the nose and the ears and all that stuff. For African American ones, we don't start those layers until we have the shade about half as dark as we want it to be when it's fully done. Got a little hair right here. Okay. So I'll go ahead and put her underneath here. And I'll grab a foot and an arm. Here. Alright. Again, I'm just going to do 1 foot and 1 arm because there's no sense in watching me do 2 of them because it's the exact same. Sorry, my mouth is dry today. So I kind of have a little bit of trouble talking when my mouth is dry. Because my tongue like sticks to the top of my mouth and the back of my throat. Anyway. So if I start talking funny, I am sorry, but that is why. And I'm not an expert on this. And you can obviously do the painting any way you want. This is just the way I have found works best for me. It's just the way I like my dolls to look. Everybody's different. Just like when you're weighting your dolls, some people like them heavier, some lighter, some, like them more sturdy, some like them a little looser. It's everybody's preference. And given that we are artists, every artist has their own particular style too, so. Just like with any other type of art. And as you get going, you'll start working faster too, because you'll get more used to it. There we go. I had too much fluid in my sponge there. And I know I should have put on gloves. I didn't, but sometimes I wear gloves when I remember and sometimes I don't. But I have very dry hands anyway, so I'm not too worried about getting my oils on here. And I just wash my hands, and that makes a difference too. But if you don't have dry hands, then I would advise you to make sure you're wearing gloves when you do this so that you're not getting the oils from your hands on here, as that will prohibit the paint from adhering to the vinyl. Alright, and I do a little bit extra right around whatever that was called, like, probably the flange, maybe it's called, I don't know. Whatever you want to call this thing. The attachment of the arm, the space for the attachment of the arm. There you go. All right. So that one is done. I don't think it's. I don't know. I need to get bifocals. There we go. Because I can't tell. I can't see the camera to know whether it's blurry or clear unless I switch to my glasses like I just did. So, I guess switched back to my readers here. All right, let me see if I have anything to brush off of here. I do love using this food tent because it really doesn't get much on there. All right, I'm going to use my paintbrush to stabilize it so it's easier. And start at the toes. I should have stirred this up a little bit. Oh, I forgot I would want to try. I want to start putting a little bit in the dish so that it doesn't get dried out while I'm doing it, but I forgot to do that, so. Let me get this done and then I'll do that, as I need to do the other arm and foot and stuff after I get off this video. Uh-oh. Can you see that? I guess we're doing the leg there too. Got way too much fluid down there. Which is fine, it doesn't hurt anything, just use your sponge to take it off. No big deal. And if you make a mistake, then usually you can just take a baby wipe and clean it up real quick before it dries. I heard somewhere somebody else uses this airbrush medium and the slow dry medium. This we will use when we do the brown layers, because you don't want it to dry too quick, as then it looks dirty. This I used to use, I'm not using anymore because I noticed that it made the paint more sticky, and so hair was it attracted like the hair on it more, so I don't do that anymore. I was spending like 30 minutes before each layer trying to get all the dust off of it. The dust and hairs and everything, and they were just sticking right to it. So, and either, well, I think it was that, but I haven't had as much trouble with stuff sticking to it as much. While I'm painting, and then of course the food net helps too. So put in the comments, I would be really curious to find out if you guys have as much problem as I do with dust and lint getting on your kits, because we need to, I think I mentioned this in a previous video too, that we need to get our ducts cleaned. And I'm wondering, I know it's probably going to be better after that, but I'm wondering how much of a difference that is making. So if you let me know if you guys have that problem. Then I can kind of figure out if that's going to help or not. And I can't quite do it yet because I have some stuff I need to do around the house before I do that. Alright. So the leg is done. Put that over here. And make sure the netting, if you use the netting, make sure it's not, oh, criminy. I just knocked that all over. I have rocks in here, and then I also have water in it, and I just knocked it over, so I have water all over the thing now. Stay. Okay. Alright, well, I clean up this mess. I will get off of here. I hope you guys have a blessed day, and I hope you enjoyed the videos and learned something, and I will see you again next time. Bye.